Hello, my friends, and this is your friendly neighborhood Tenkaichi. Yeah, it's time for rant. And you know what that means? I'm pulling the trigger, and if somebody gets shot, that's not my problem. 2014 was one hell of a year, wasn't it? We've we've received a lot of good, a lot of bad, and a hell of a lot of stupid. You might think this is a year in review, but I don't think it's a year in review. Because throughout this entirety of what happened last year, we're now in 2015, we're supposedly a little more mature. At least I hope most of us are a little more mature than other folks. And to the rest of the internet, I say, meh. That's what I honestly say. I just say, meh. I would like to point out that what I'm going to rant about is not for the faint of heart because I might step on some toes, kick somebody in the nuts, and come out swinging and possibly use this peacekeeper to shut them all the fuck up. So, you have them warned. So, you're wondering why I'm ranting about this right now? Well, I did a lot of thinking. And one thing I remember doing, or one thing I remember so much, is about how this generation, the younger generation, is so quick to think that our generation is just not in the know about video games and such. You know, we come from a good line of nerd stock, if you will. And I mean, most of us who grew up in the 80s and 90s up to now, y'all know what I'm talking about. But this generation that I want to say is the weeaboo generation. Yes, I'm calling it as is. Weeaboo generation. Even in the gamer community, there are some people, I'm not saying who, but there are some people who honestly think that there are some games that are worth just playing. I'm talking about these simulation games, right? So there have been a lot of simulation games, and I would like to put them all in line with saying it's in a word. I hate to say it, but it's kusuge. Now I'm not sure why, but I think last year we had mainly kusoge. Kusoge coming out the ass because you had a lot of simulation games. Not even good ones. They just like bleh, because they were constantly being shat out over and over and over, and I'm sorry, but they're just as bad as the Call of Duty games. And I'm sorry for people who like Call of Duty, but my God, your franchise is getting tiring. The franchise is getting tiring. It's like a lot of games in the early 2010. We're halfway through 2010. We got a lot of games that just basically like to echo off another or they tend to do the same thing. And it goes all the way back from Pac-Man up to Street Fighter, and it goes along that because there's a lack of imagination. Because if you had Pac-Man, there were a whole lot of clones. You had Donkey Kong, you had a whole lot of clones. You had Super Mario, you had a bunch of clones. Some good, not so good. Then the 90s, I think the 90s was like the most innovative generation ever known because they tried not to be as copycatish. It didn't try to be, you know, copying off the same thing. They tried to be different. That I can respect and understand. I mean, even back then in the 90s when we had these console wars, because everybody remembers the war between Sega and Nintendo. Oh yeah, because it was just one big massive one-up contest. They were both one-upping each other because you had Nintendo versus the Master System. Then you had Super Nintendo versus the Sega Genesis. You had the Game Boy versus the Game Gear. And then I would say the closest I would say between then in that century would be the N64 versus the the console hybrids from Sega, like the Sega CD, the 3D, the 32X, and the Genesis 2. Genesis 2 was, you know, a Sega CD hybrid. It was a Sega CD hybrid. I remember that because I really wanted one. Anyway, the thing was, between just those two alone, and let's not forget the TurboGrafx 16, they had plenty of games that were basically way ahead of its time, you know. And speaking as a retro gamer, it's the reason why I do a lot of retro games. I do a lot of retro games because there's more found in a retro game than you would find up to now. Because this generation of gaming, they sort of go back to, we're copying off each other, but we're going to continuously copy off each other. And like I said before, it's just a matter of imagination. There is little to no imagination put into video games these days. Because they either have to be just as good as a Hollywood movie with a slightly smaller budget, or they could be the most shittiest game ever known in the entire universe, and it could be rated as a B movie, and it can have a cult following. And the thing about like the gamers of this generation is we have this horde, this mob mentality. And this mob mentality aren't using their brains. The mob mentality never uses the brains, mind you. I'm not saying that all gamers do that, but most people, they don't really think, they don't really, in a word, they don't be honest enough. They see one game being played and so, oh my god, it's so awesome! I want to play too. I want to jump on. That. I mean, I'm not going to put in multiplayer games, but I'm talking about games that have just been there. Games that have just been around and everybody, and you know, if it's YouTube, everybody is going to do the same damn thing, or just about the same damn thing. It's like if you had a Battlefield video, one person will post a Battlefield video, then you'll see another person, and then two more people, and then four more people, then eight more people, and the vicious cycle goes on. RPGs, RPGs are a different breed. Now you're wondering why I do RPGs on my channel more? Because there's a lot to choose from. There's a lot of different RPGs to choose from. You got your turn-based, you got your action, you have tactical, you have tactical strategy. You even have the new Western RPGs. Because mind you, Western RPGs haven't been much of popular until like Dragon Age and Mass Effect came out. That's what basically, slung Western RPGs into the spotlight. Those two games. And then there's other games like Dragon's Dogma. In which personally, I actually do like Dragon's Dogma. And I played that more than Dragon Age. But that's besides the point. The point is, there's a lack of originality. Not with there's a lack of originality. There's a lack of differences. And I might be wrong. And if I am wrong, please correct me, or please just send some feedback. Share your feedback, actually. But this generation of gamers, they like to do just about the same thing. Like if you see an Assassin's Creed video, if you're going to do an Assassin's Creed video like Unity or something like that, then everybody's going to do a version of it. It's either going to look, good, or it's going to, or it's going to look terrible. It's going to look good or terrible, sound good or sound terrible. And, like I said, there's a big lack of, how people see it, how people view games, It's like, what if we were playing Tabletop Simulator? We were on playing Tabletop Simulator, and we were just throwing stuff around. We were breaking tables in a rage. We were tossing the dice onto the ground. We're tipping over our own tokens across each other. We are counting backwards or forwards. We're not even paying attention to the whole goddamn game, but we're having fun. And yet people like that. These days on YouTube, it's like if you're not popular, you're not going to get as many views. And even if you do, you're going to have people who might not like what you do. Your content is not up to snuff. You got to be more like Markiplier or PewDiePie or maybe Smooth McGroove. And that's just some of the people that are very popular on YouTube. I'm not saying all people want on the goodness, but the problem is that there are people out there who work just as hard and put enough time as they possibly can in even just 2 2 videos to them, that's progress. Or possibly 5 videos. I mean, when I first started off on YouTube, I started doing a burst of videos, like when there was 15 minutes, back when there was the 15-minute limit, and I used to do a burst of videos just because I was playing through a game. And mind you, I wasn't even using the right I was using the right software, but I wasn't using the the right mode. Because most of what I did, my earlier work was that of capture mode, which is what I'm doing for this picture. I'm using capture mode. And, it wasn't the best quality, but that was before I even knew, oh, there's a mode I can use for a mic. So I can talk. So I can share my thoughts about this game and, side commentary while I'm playing the game. And that's when I became a Let's Player. And of course, my thing is I like to do games that aren't above the radar. I like to do games below the radar. Now that means not just retro games, but modern games as well, because not all games are that popular. Some are more famous than others. Sometimes, with the gang, we play something modern. We play like Payday 2 or 100% Orange Juice or Tabletop Simulator. And, yes, even Talisman. Whatever game that is a multiplayer game, we jump on it, have side commentary, and for the most part, we have footage, so we post to our individual channels. And usually, for the most part, it's not about the views, it's about having fun. Now, I don't know how many YouTubers out there still think about, having fun. Because there are some out there who think, you're putting up a game video, it's going to generate some views and some monies for you. Monetization and all that. This may be true, but I would think a part of them just isn't having fun. They sound tired sometimes. Maybe it's just me. But, some people, mind you, I'm having some bark to repair. Some people would actually, I don't know, sound like they're not enjoying the game, or maybe they are enjoying the game, or maybe they're too hyper for the game. And I know sometimes I'm very excited on the games I play. But my voice, regardless of how I'm sounding, will never take precedence over the game. I'm just the guy playing the game, and all you're doing is hearing my voice. You've seen my face before, but more importantly, you're hearing my voice while I'm playing the game and providing commentary on what you should do and how you should do it. How do you power up your characters, how you should treat them, what level you should go, just the basics. Just the simple things that you should know. And I'm telling you, it's just something very important. Now, my commentary is off the cuff. So therefore, I just say what's just on my mind as I'm playing this, because honestly, when I was younger, I played some of the games that I'm doing on some of the games that I did on my channel, I played years back before I was even on YouTube. And some of the games provide some memories. So I share, a bit of story about them. While it might not be as entertaining, I like to share what little history I have with some games that I played. Even if I don't have the best of memories about it. The thing is, I'm just here playing a game. I'm here to have fun. I'm not worried about if I lose people. If I lose people, I lose people. If I gain people, I gain people. It's a good feeling to gain people because you feel you have done something, you have accomplished something. And even though I'm not an entertainer, I'm providing free entertainment. I'm just a gamer providing free entertainment. So if you consider me an entertainer, then fine. But mind you, this is free entertainment. So I think I ought to get off the gamer subject because, like I said, this rant, I'm stepping on a couple of toes. Kicking people in the nuts. And if you get shot, not my fault. So I mentioned weeaboos. For those who don't know what weeaboos are, it is a term that you have two types of enthusiasts. You have otaku. I don't know why I say otaku. It's otaku. It's otaku, which is what I am. I'm an otaku. I enjoy watching a series and, appreciate for what it is. That means if I watch it in sub or dub, I watch it with interest. And usually people like me, I usually, make reviews on them and share my feed and share what I found likable about the series. I share my pros and cons about the series and, recommend it or not recommend. I leave it entirely up to the viewer. That's what I do, and like I said, as an otaku, I'm not just, limited to just anime alone. I have tokusatsu as well. So I watch some Ultraman sometimes. I watch some Kamen Rider. I even watch Toei Spider-Man. And sometimes I watch some Super Sentai. Let's just say being an otaku is somewhat of an upgraded version of being a geek. When you're a nerd, you're being called a geek or anything like that, just because you were smart in school. Let's just say I'm a little enlightened. So if you're a tiny bit enlightened about what you like, I would consider that being otaku. You have to be enlightened about what you like. So it's not like, being just enthusiast, but it's more along the line of what you like and how you like to share it with the world. Now, I already mentioned what a otaku is. A weeaboo. Oh boy. I know there are a lot of people out there who, if they were listening to the sound of my voice, they might take offense to it. But I only got 2 words for you out there. Calm down. I know there's a overused joke saying calm down and this. I'm really tired. And that's the one thing. That's the one thing about the weeaboos. The weeaboos tend to overuse very watered down, tiresome internet memes. I think the I think most people they say as a joke that King of the Hill is an anime or Cory in the House is an anime. First off, let me just point out that you a dumbass. Granted, King of the Hill was a good animated show for its time until Fox just basically canceled it. I used to watch it when it was really funny. It's just the same as any other animated series or animated comedy there is right now. Just some things just aren't as funny as they were some odd years ago. And even if, you grew up from the 90s, you knew that some of the stuff that the 90s gave us is either good, bad, or ugh. And then, this generation has waifus and husbandos and like the fuck? It's like you are leveled down from being a closet to basement type of being. You're near the level of being a chud. I'm sorry. You are that low. It's kind of like this. You make yourself that low because you are basically obsessed. That's not good to be obsessed. I know that anime is a good thing. It's a wonderful thing. But it should not be, obsessed with it. Because, when I'm not being a gamer, I'm a teacher. So I teach, Japanese. And yes, I teach anime. I teach what anime is good, what anime is bad. I teach what genres they do. That's just one of the things I teach. But the main thing is, yeah. When you actually say, "Oh, I love this," there's a difference between I love this series and then having an obsession with the series. There's something wrong there. There's something wrong, and what you need to do is you need to turn off the DVD, go outside, get some fresh air, and possibly something in your stomach because you've been watching the whole goddamn thing for like 5 to 10 hours without sleep, without eating, or anything like that. Just go outside. That's how you fix that generation. Just go outside. Stop what you're watching. Go outside. And I'm being totally nice about this. It's like you overuse jokes. Like the most overused joke that I've heard and I've actually pulled off saying is the "that's what you said" joke. I mean, it's funny, yes, but we kind of overuse it in the gamer community, but that's okay. That's fine. But when you try to make something when you try to make something forcefully funny, it's like no, there's no joke there. I'm sorry, there is no joke. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Go to jail. Sit in there and rot. Now I know. Now I know it's like there are good series out there. But you should not, and I mean should not, obsess over it. You shouldn't even obsess over the characters. Because, I mean, fan bases, that's another thing. That often creates ugly, very ugly fan bases. There are some fan bases that are very obsessed with certain series, some that are purist, some that are possibly more than a little much, and pretty much that frightens me. Sometimes it makes me not want to watch a series just because, you know, the people of a group. I'm not saying which group, but you've seen that type before. People of the group, they are so they are so powerfully passionate. I'm not going to say compassionate, but powerfully passionate that they will stand by this one series. They will take a sword. They will show out full on cosplay. They will be dressed, and you will see most of them wearing a hachimachi around their heads. That's a bandana that most people use for something like raising spirit and whatnot. For rallying the spirit and whatnot. Japanese thing. You will see them just stand out there, and they will be like it's Ogre Battle or Dragon Force or something like that. They're all like standing out there in an army, and then they will be like so stoic, so strong. They will say, "This is the greatest series of all time, and we're gonna stand by it." That's fine. That's dandy. But we're talking about a show. We're talking about something so old that even we don't feel terrible about saying how terrible the series was back then. We were all kids back in the day. I mean, there are some series that I can say are pretty much my favorites, but I'm not going to go crazy, pull out a halberd, and just bring out an army like Dynasty Warriors, Samurai Warriors, and just say, "This is the best series of all time. Anybody who says otherwise will get their asses whipped." I'm sorry, I don't do that. I'm sorry. That's not me. You gotta open your mind to some things. It's kind of like with me and my first time playing a first person shooter. A first person shooter that was not Call of Duty. I'm talking about when I first played Borderlands. When I first played Borderlands, I was a runt. I was a level 1 runt. And I basically had to stay behind because I was so low level that one hit could kill me. It's like a snort could just put me in death status. That's how bad I was. But soon I came to enjoy a good first person shooter game. I came to enjoy the fact that, I'm okay with being a terrible shot. If I'm not, spot on, that's okay. I have I have people that can cover me should I not get a clean shot off somebody. That's fine. That's dandy. And, later I start playing other first person shooter games like Borderlands 2 and and Payday the Heist and then Payday 2. I mean, really to be quite honest, it was the only games that I know how to play. Oh yeah, and Killing Floor as well. And Left 4 Dead. I mean, I gotten better with first person shooters and I eventually, when I did Sleeping Dogs, I got better with third person shooters because all I had to do was stand still and shoot. Stand still, shoot, make sure I didn't get shot. So if I had to strafe, I'll strafe. If not, just like, okay, get him in the sweet spot. Bing! There you go. That's all right. And it's just the same thing with, anime. You have to open up. You can't just say, "Oh, this new animation so much better than the old animation." No, you can't do that. You have to respect the roots. You have to respect the roots. It's the same thing with a video game. You have to respect the roots. No matter how good they were back then or how bad they were back then. You always have to go back and respect the roots of what made us all who we are now. And I will say this. There's nothing wrong with liking something. There's just something wrong with being obsessed about something. That's all I have to say. You can like something without oversaturating it and mainly making something like a clear-cut mess. It could be like, "Oh, this is beautiful." It's like you're making a pizza with ketchup and mustard, two types of cheese, a banana, some anchovies, pastrami, and pepperoni, and say, "Oh, this is a deluxe." This is not no deluxe, man. This is not a deluxe. I've seen better pizzas than that, okay? Seriously, I've seen better pizzas than that. And I look at that, it's like, God damn, what the fuck did you do to that goddamn pizza? I mean, seriously, what the fuck did you put on this thing? And why the hell are you serving it to me? Granted, I'm a cook. I have delicate taste. I have refined taste. I like cooking. I like to make sure that when I cook something, it's homemade, and it's very much likable, edible. That sort of thing. But yeah, it's kind of sad, but I have to point out because, like I said, last year we had too much of that. We had too much oversaturation on what's better, and what's shit, what's not shit, and that needs to be said. I said, okay, this last year it was terrible because there were so many things that were so many games that were out, and they were being oversaturated. Like I said, the simulator games they were really oversaturated because it's like for one time it was a joke. Another time it's not so much of a joke now. It's like, "Oh, this is what you're bringing." Okay. This is technically what you're bringing out. Okay. All right. And like I said, going back to before, there's a lack of imagination. I'm not saying all games are shit. It's just the fact that there are one too many games that felt broken, that did some strange things. I mean, they weren't game breaking, but they did some very awkward, some weird things. Some basically disconnected, and I don't know why. But some games they were just like that, and some games it's like some people are just obsessed with this one series. I'm not going to say, because there are plenty of series out there that people can be obsessed about. And those are the kind of people I kind of stay away from. It's like I'm playing, I have a Pokemon LP in progress. It's fine that you like the series, but when you go all technical on me, I'm just going to nod my head very slowly and just say, mm-hmm. Because, like I said, that's oversaturating. And, like, okay, don't bombard me with all that technical stuff. I just like to play the game. I don't want to even know about, the stats and whatnot. If I really want stats, I go to my Pokedex. I mean, it's fine that you want to share your wisdom, but sometimes it's better not to oversaturate things. It's the same thing with any other game. You got people who like Minecraft, or people who just are just so obsessed with Minecraft. They eat, sleep, shit Minecraft. They will stay up on the server for like maybe 5 to 8 hours building the most craziest of all things. Whether it be the Yamato, the Macross, maybe um maybe shoot, something out of an anime. But I'm like, God damn. I really couldn't put, and I'm being honest about this. I couldn't put in that much time for something like that because I got other things to do. And I'm not knocking anybody who plays Minecraft. If you have all the time in the world, be my guest. You can show the entire world a tokusatsu paradise of everything you find awesome. And I'm not going to fault you for that. It's just, don't ask me to like it because, A, that requires time and energy, and I don't have neither one. I have neither one for those. That's all there is. I have more important things that are on my plate now that I need to focus on. So, I have a full plate. I'm a novelist, a teacher, and a gamer, and a homemaker. So, that's four things I have to deal with. That's all that needs to be said. But, don't knock me just because I just said something that may have offended you. If I have offended you, consider that a wake up call. Because, as many games there are out there, just playing for what it is. You know, you don't have to make a video about it. You can just play it on your own time. You can make a short video of how it, if you want to make a review of it, that's cool too. I'm not telling you how, but you don't have to basically do all this stuff, do what everybody does. Because I don't. I mean, I got a couple of games that I'll be playing casually during my own time. And I can't wait to get on them because, I ordered them before 2014 was up. So I said, well, you know what? I might as well just get this for myself, reward myself for all the hard work I did. And that's why I did. And you know what? I'm going to have fun. I'm going to, more than likely, after this video is done, and after it's being posted, I'm just going to be playing it, enjoying myself, and not worry about a damn thing. I realized this yesterday while I was at work, that I found myself stuttering. And mind you, I'm stuttering to a person. I have never stuttered or had a brain fart like I had with some people. Because I would just, some of my friends, they would notice this. But, the fact is that when you have something like cerebral palsy, you can't help having one of those moments in which your brain just cuts off mid-sentence. And for those who find that irritating, yeah, I'm sorry. That's part of who I am. It's been with me since I was a child. I'm older, so I have to basically take control of it. Or I had to excuse myself if I go on a brain fart. And, I had to talk slower, be a little more detailed and whatnot. Aside from that, like I said, this generation, oh boy, this generation, whew. I need to take better care of myself, honestly. I mean, I've been, like I said, I have a full plate, so it's a lot I had to take in, and I really do need to take it easy on myself. I'm getting older, so that's a thing. But aside from that, as I said before in the previous video, to me, this is my year to reinvent myself. This means I'm going to go back to some of the old stuff I did. And, mainly just go through some old games, play them, make parts out of them, make parts and everything else. And, just see where in my life did I go wrong or make myself a little better. Because every year you want to make yourself a little better. That should be the main resolution for every year. As far and as long as we live. The main reason why we go through the same shit every year is basically just to become better. And that's what it should be about. Not all this, well, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and everything else, and I'm going to make sure I don't do this very often. That's fine. That's dandy. But the main concern about every resolution is just to become better. You're not the old you anymore, but you're someone completely new. So that's something to remember. But my final say about this is you just have to remember. Just enjoy things for as they are, but don't go overboard on it. That's one thing we have to learn. Just don't go overboard. It's okay to like something, but when you become too obsessive about it, that's a problem, and it becomes a problem. Some people say, "Oh, it's fun." It's funny. I say, yeah, but sometimes when you overdo a joke, it just don't get funny. It's just not funny anymore. And there's some things you know are wrong, but you do it because you don't give a damn. And then you look back, and this is your younger self. And then when you become a little older, and you start thinking about, and you're watching the same series, but you're not watching the same series or playing the same game as you did when you were younger, you start to realize, so this is the reason why I played this game. This is the reason why I like this series. Why was I so hung up on this? And, you start questioning why you did it. Because you didn't know any better. Anyway. I had a lot to say about this on one video, so hopefully on my end, it all comes out the way it should sound. And for that matter, if you have any feedback at all, whether it's about this video, please, my dear friend who knows who I'm talking to, the first thing you better not ask me is about Super Robot Tyson, okay? I'm going to take a break from the series, okay? That's all you need to know. I'm going to take a break from the series just for a while. Then when I feel like coming back to it, I will come back to it. But for now, don't ask me about Super Robot Tyson. You know what I'm posting. Had to say that. So until next time, or whatever the hell I feel like posting or when I'm going to record, hopefully this weekend be very, very merciful to me in time and energy, and I can get a lot of parts going for next week. I've been your friendly neighborhood Tenkaichi, Ichigo Mosco, otherwise known as Pookie Izzy7. And I'll see you next time with, well, the usual stuff. Till then, take care, God bless, have a great and wonderful weekend, and be safe out there. And I'll see you next time. Till then, Tenkai Muso.